Okay, joining us now, Forbes Media Chairman and Editor-in-Chief Steve Forbes. Steve, my former boss, it's always good to see you again. Hey, Steve, it's so Politico, what do you make of this? Politico is reporting that White House insiders fear the Houthi attacks on Red Sea shipping will ignite inflation and economic turmoil and hurt President Biden's re-election. Really, that's all what it's about, his grab on power?
Well, you got two things underway here. One is they're trying to appease the far left, which doesn't want any kind of action in the Middle East or anywhere else. The other thing is that they're also still, amazingly, trying to appease Iran, saying we're going after the Houthis, and this is why we're doing it. If you just call off those dogs, all would be well in the world. So it's not done for national security reasons. It was done very belatedly, signaling to the world that we don't have the stomach to keep the peace in terms of keeping the bad guys from disrupting the peace. So it's bad all around. It's just like Barack Obama drawing the red line in the sand, and then Russia comes along and says, we'll take care of it. He backs off. China's now the U.S. is going to China to say, help us out with the Houthis. What does that tell the world? The U.S. has lost its mojo. That's what it says to the world, and that's bad for freedom. You know,
Steve, the other thing, too, is, when you see this Politico report, it's quoting White House insiders saying they are concerned that, quote, the conflict in the Red Sea could widen into a bigger war, economic damage could spiral out of control quickly, and that it's basically saying that could trigger inflation here in the U.S. and worldwide. So you don't want to get anywhere near politicizing U.S. military strikes in Yemen. It's not saying they're bombing Yemen to stop inflation hurting Biden 2024. But, Steve, they shouldn't be anywhere near talking about bombing for a hold on political power. Do you see what the point is there?
Yes. Well, I see that the White House is absolutely confused about what national security strategy should be for the United States. They don't understand inflation, which is debasing the dollar. They don't understand that if you appear weak, Iran is going to keep pushing you. Russia's pushing you. China's watching what we do in Europe and the Middle East. So it's a very turbulent world because they don't trust the United States to have a sound policy, foreign policy and military policy anymore.
You know what's happening, Steve? A bipartisan coalition of senators also warned the president they are concerned his Mideast policies could escalate the region into a wider war. Now, Democrat Senator Tim Kaine, let's take a listen and get your reaction to the senator here, breaking with the Biden White House, saying he can't just unilaterally bomb Yemen and escalate military tensions without the consent or approval of Congress. Let's watch President Biden, then watch Senator Tim Kaine. Watch.
And I mean it sincerely. I'm supposedly an expert on foreign policy.
Brianna, every president has inherent power under Article 2 to defend the United States, and that's always been understood to mean defend U.S. personnel, U.S. military assets, possibly even U.S. commercial assets. He doesn't need to ask Congress's permission. But when you go on the offense against a group, and if it's more than just self-defense and now suddenly it's a back and forth that's escalating, that's classically when it becomes an offensive, not just defensive operation. We need to be briefed on that, and I think Congress needs to be brought into it, because the last thing we need to do is to slide into another war in the Middle East without a really careful consideration and a debate in front of the public.
Okay, Steve, how about a debate on the Iran policy? Its proxies are blamed for more than 100 drone attacks, nearly 50 rocket attacks against U.S. assets and troops in Iraq and Syria since October. But Biden's approach to Iran has been saying, let them build back their forces, let them make $100 billion, including in oil export sales, give Iran more money to fund Hamas and fund Hezbollah because they want a nuclear deal with Iran.
Yeah, it's all about appeasement. It's all about weakness. And Biden owes the nation a real explanation why we're in Ukraine, what needs to be done in the Middle East. But he hasn't done it. He's not a real leader. He's out of it today.
Got it.
Sadly.
Steve Forbes, you're terrific. Thank you so much for coming back on the show. It's good to see you.